There we go. Your cortisol is going to start producing and your body's going to go out of balance. And that's these drops really did become something that changed my health forever and always, because I was able to get my body back into balance with them. And I mean, you guys, like, I get vitamins and supplements at wholesale at any company, and there's no other company besides this one that I put in my body because we simply have the best. And why wouldn't I go tell people that? I was doing it in my office. So you literally have the same benefits as a doctor for $30. Well, again, it's not rocket science. Like, get out there, get your time multiplied, share something that really truly helps people, and replace a doctor's income. And if you got a doctor's income to replace, awesome. And if you don't, go get it. And that's really my story. Like, I just, as soon as I realized that I bought myself a job and I really like residual income, I like to know that the work I did 10 years ago, I get paid for this Friday. In fact, this Friday, woo woo, that was a good check. I paid cash for a car. I never did that in chiropractic. I never did that with a doctorate. So, I mean, I don't know what your goals are, but I just wanted time, freedom, and money. And my dad told me that all along. But until it was my pain point, I didn't get it. Until I didn't have time, I wasn't listening. Until I didn't have money to pay over $100,000 in taxes, I didn't get it. Owning a business is not easy. And I want you to know that if here, like, it is easier, but you're still a business owner. And most businesses fail in 5 years. Not this business, every business. Why? Because they don't lock into a system. They don't get themselves in a routine. And we literally hand it over to you. This is about as turnkey as it gets at this point. So, anyways, that was way more than 2 minutes, Chris. I'll zip it.
Think it's great. I mean, I wanted to hear that. When you say you and Kristen have so much in common, she grew up, like you said, watching the industry and didn't think she ever wanted to do anything like that. And then, as she would say, after all these years, and she bought the gym, it's funny, the numbers are almost the same. She spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to open a business, and it just wasn't exactly what she thought it was going to be until she, and then I think it was irritating for her to realize dad's sleeping a little bit later and or he sets his own time, as most of you can see in the background. I'm working from my boat. And so, Russ, tell me what you can do and make this kind of income and make a decision. And you, by the way, she didn't even tell y'all she's not home. She's in Phoenix. So, guys, you can travel and you still work. Now, 20 years ago, it was much different. It was a much more difficult thing because it was all meetings and you had to be there and you had to set it up and you had to travel. And you still do that if you're going to build a big business, but not to the extent as like this Saturday morning. I've been doing this for a few years now, and it's like I knew about Zoom before anybody heard of Zoom because we were doing this. But Crystal, let's talk about how just the transition process. I mean, I think people know about your health transition, but I think you ought to tell them a little bit about why you're so passionate about the products. Because sometimes, by the way, and I'm that guy. I didn't join this for product, even though I do weigh 90 pounds less than I started, and I'm off of multiple medications, and we don't heal, treat, or diagnose. I'm not telling you I've been healed. I'm telling you I don't need meds for some of those symptoms I had. So I want to make that clear. You really saw a tremendous health change. Tremendous.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly, I've always been after health and wellness. I put myself inside that arena, to make money. I knew healthcare was always a safe bet for future income. Like, there's always going to be unhealthy people. So, and I love to be a solution finder. That's part of who I am. And I was always looking for my own solution, autoimmune issues since I was young. So I sort of was a guinea pig for the medical field, and at least that's how I felt. And I was always searching for answers, and I just always seemed to find a better result when I went more natural. And so that's what drove me in eventually into chiropractic. I was using it myself, played volleyball, had some injuries, needed a chiro, and they put me into this thought process that the power that made the body heals the body. And so if you can unlock its ability to take care of itself, all we're here is to steward it. And so it was like, well, you know, about 10 years ago, I'm 300 pounds and I'm like, I'm not stewarding this body very well. And for those of you who saw, I literally lost my mind this week on Facebook. It's saved pinned to the top of my page because it created a firestorm. But I lost my brain. Ignorance. There is not much that makes me lose my mind except just plain out ignorance. Not stupid. Stupid is uninformed. Ignorance is when you're informed and you still make really stupid decisions. And so there might be some ignorance in here. I see it sometimes in the circle of hell, right? We know better, but we don't do it. That's called being ignorant. I am ignorant in areas, and it's usually like this rebellious nature that I do it. So when I found this program, I didn't do it all right all the time. That's ignorant. But here's what I found out. I can be ignorant 20% of the time and still have incredible results. You don't have to be perfect, but you do got to do something different. And so I went crazy on there because some guy made a decision to hold off for 30 days to get started on our program because he was going to use pink salt from Dr. Oz because his best friend just lost 5 pounds. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? You got to be kidding me. At what point? But there's some of us on here who take that pink salt mentality to our business. You're shortcutting. You're like, here's the deal. This is what I found out. The basics never change in anything. The basics never change in church. The basics never change in football. It doesn't matter what SEC team that's going on. You know what they're running right now in those locker rooms? Plays, passing, tackling, the basics. If you get away from the basics, if you don't build your business on relationships, helping someone get started, help them start their own journey, and help them step into their sphere of influence, you will not succeed here. You can go do every expo you want. You can go do every online program you got. You can go do it. But if you don't have a 2x2 to run with, it's never going to work because you didn't do the foundation. So all I can say is, why have I had success? Why have I built my business up? Why did I step away from a doctor's income 10 years ago? Oh, wait. I sold my practice in 18, but I started building in 15, and I went to, this isn't a claim. I'll send you my W-9, or right? I'll send you my 1099, not my W-2. You want to be able to say that. Let me send you my 1099, not my W-2. In 2015, 3 months in, I created 6 figures. You can't do that anywhere else. You cannot. Well, Chris and I were talking about this. If I could do it anywhere else, I didn't want to do this. I did not want to be network marketing. I fought it. I went in debt to get away from it. And yet,
I want to add something to that, Crystal. You just said don't want to do it, don't want to do it. How many people go to jobs every morning for something they hate, and they don't want to do that either? They just, it's just that they get into a grind of doing that, and that was where I was after losing my company. I had something making me a decent income. I just hated it every Monday through Friday. I hated it all day to the end of the day, every day. And when I found network marketing, it was of the previous company. I'm like, this could work. And I don't mean, you know what I thought? I'm just going to do this temporarily until I can figure out what I'm going to really do. And then what I realized was I didn't know what I didn't know. And that's where, by the way, that's kind of a training note I would tell everybody. Don't feel bad. I was the most skeptical negative individual in history that you would have. I stood them up, wouldn't show, wouldn't listen. And then I'm like, I got educated. I was ignorant. Whatever you can, I can't give you all the nice ways of Kristal put it into being ignorant or stupid. I was just stupid. I just didn't know what I didn't know. And then once I got to realizing that, and I realized there was a better way, it was something that I loved your post this morning. I'm gonna bring it back up. You said for $30. So you know what the real reason is? For $30, you can lose it because it cost me more than $30 to take a grandchild to Chick-fil-A. I mean, the drive-through window at Chick-fil-A is never less than $40 because I got two grandkids and I don't go there. So I've got grandkids. So what's my point is the difference is the effort and the
Yeah.
decision and the workload. And of course, I'll be the first to admit you've got to have learning. And I was terrible at this business. Lord, she did so much better than me in her first time. I sucked. You know why? I wanted to do it my way. I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't listen to the people that hadn't been there before me. It'd be like going to rebuild a car and not have ever had a wrench in your hand and not willing to talk to an experienced mechanic before you rebuild your car. Here we've got people that've done it, but yet people don't want to listen. So let's talk about what do you do on a daily basis? What is your daily? That's what I asked Todd Rowland. You don't know that. 23 years ago, when I decided to join this industry, here's this football coach. By the way, if he's here, I don't care. I said I'm not too impressed with this guy. I mean, he's got on boots and blue jeans and a shirt that doesn't, not tucked in, but he was making money. But what he had was a system. But that's too smart for that. I made way more money than an old high school football coach. So I do this without him. So for 2 years, I struggled because you know what? They didn't want to listen. I want you to address that because that's really the key is coming up. And we've struggled here to get the right system to what we knew was right for this company, but now it's there. So, and you were so instrumental. I mean, honestly, y'all took an idea that somebody that was doing something, and y'all like, we can change this. And we should have asked Ashley Paulson to be on here with you. I know she was a big part of you. I don't know who all the people help, but you guys don't get enough credit for building and getting this system to where it is what we all know is important. You heard this when your dad was in the other company, duplicatable. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, here's a statement. Your greatest strength, unguarded, is your biggest weakness. So my greatest strength is to go out there and activate people, to get people excited about something, to put a fire in their belly, to reveal their why to them. So if that's my greatest strength, if I'm not paying attention to that, it can be my biggest weakness because I can get people started, but that doesn't mean I walk them through to the end. So I want you to think about what is your greatest strength? And then you almost have to reverse engineer it to find what your weakness is. So I couldn't duplicate myself because I wasn't teaching anybody what to do. So I had to create, you're like, what is your daily operations? My daily operations is the system, because without it, all I do is excite people and then I walk away and they don't know what to do. So I had to, I've always tried to create systems. I created systems in my office. I've always just been someone that needs a flow chart, because if I don't have it, I don't walk it, and I can't teach someone else to do what I'm not doing. So the system of growth that you guys have all seen, I want you to let this sink in. So stop a second. The system of growth is for one thing and one thing only: to get someone to ultimate without saying, go ultimate. Because the minute you tell someone to go ultimate, they're like, what's ultimate? Oh, well, it's this. Now I got to talk PV. Now I got to talk first 4 weeks. It was like, how can we get them there without saying anything? So we just kept taking what was working and building it into a flow chart. And so your flow chart is a box of drops post, creates a lead, creates a customer, creates a brand partner, creates a business partner. Just because you're a brand partner don't mean you're a business partner. There's been plenty of times I was just a brand partner and I sucked at being a business partner because I didn't use duplication. I wasn't teaching other people to do what I do. I wasn't keeping it simple. I was changing the scripts. And they'd be like, I never heard you say that. I'm like, oh, well, I just thought of it. You never want your people to say, I don't think I can do what you do. If you have someone say that, you're not duplicating. You got to take it back down to kindergarten level. I don't care how good you are. I mean, come on, guys. Don't you think I can talk Krebs cycle and tell you what you need to break down? But do you hear me talk about that kind of stuff? No. Now, also don't mistake like these posts seem simple to you. The same thing. There's some of you on here like, I'm not going to post those posts. It looks silly. You're too good for them. You think your friends are more intelligent? Don't you think they want simple? Don't you think that you want to post a basic core level, something that hits their core level memory, that they see it and they go, hey, me too? Not, oh, I can't do that. You literally, how many times do you hear someone step on a stage and they say, I saw my upline do this, and I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. Heck, Chris just said it about Todd. If he can do it, I can do it. So you want to be so simple with your actions that people can duplicate it. So that really is the system of growth, is just keep it simple so that you can move people through those things. And that's what I mean. Like, so many people aren't moving them through that channel just to get them to ultimate. That's the whole goal. And if you'll do that and take one in one line and one in the other line, and you just keep going back and forth, you'll optimize lines. And that's a six-figure income. I don't care how fast you do it. You're the one that gets to decide that. But no one's here to build your team for you. Like, in 10, 11 years here, I think I've had 2 people placed in my business ever. So if you're sitting here going, well, I don't have a power line. Yeah, either did I. Suck it up, Buttercup.
Did not.
I actually like that I don't have it, because I don't have people, like, it's my genealogy in my business. I don't have people going rogue acting like someone else. They all have a little bit of me in it. I'm sorry. So sorry, y'all. They all have a little bit of me in it. You know my team. You know Chris's team. You know who Brent Palmer's team is. We do have blurred lines, but you can see the little genealogy of the leader in them. I want my people on my team, because I know how to communicate with them. That's why you're never anywhere by accident. Like, if you enroll and you're working with your upline, I want you to know you're right where you're supposed to be. That person would not have enrolled you. And you need to say, thank you, God. I saw Robin on here every single day. I thank God for Robin DeMio. There's probably no one else in the world that could have got me enrolled and got me started.
And she's your sponsor.
Yeah.
And see, people don't understand that part. I think that's probably the biggest thing that you want to find, is you find people that are good. And I know Robin will always be thankful that she was willing to make that call. Guys, Chris has never been so great at this business, but I'll promise you, I have found some amazing people, and not always who I knew, through someone else that I might have known. And so that's really important. I want to iterate something you said about some people who don't want to follow the system, or they feel like I'm too good to post that. Guys, that's exactly what hurt me in the beginning of my business. I thought, well, that football coach is doing it this way, but I got to do it because I'm a business guy that, I was broke. You think it's funny. I was broke, so broke I couldn't stand it. But yet I thought, because of my past, that I could do it different. And yet, so I didn't follow the system early on. It almost caused me to quit, because I didn't want to be that. And I didn't even want, listen, when people ask me what I did for a living, I was embarrassed early on. Oh, well, I'm just in this little marketing thing. I'm doing some sales on the side. I'm a proud person. People ask me what I do now. I have a home-based business. It's simple as that. I run a home-based business from my phone. I don't mind. And when they get in detail, I said, I'm in network marketing. Most people can't do this, but I did. I don't care. I mean, my neighborhood. It's really funny because Crystal's been there. She knows it's a pretty nice area. And I live beside a federal judge. I live beside car dealership owners. They don't believe I'm in network marketing. This is the funniest thing. I think now that I've been there 10 years, I think they finally accepted it. But there was a long time, I think they thought I was a drug dealer. And I guess I was. I just on herbal drugs because these things are pretty addictive if you ever get on them. But anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you. It just spurs things in my mind, the things you say and how you change what you think. And when people, I had a guy, I don't know where this story came from. Sorry, Crystal, I got to throw it in. But
Oh,
people
you're
get
good.
the rejection factor. You get somebody that tells you no, or they tell you you're stupid. In the early part of my business, I took it so personal. And what they really don't, some of them can be personal, by the way. And I had somebody that came up to me, and I was, strange enough, I was driving Judy's Lexus convertible that we had won with the previous company. He said, "So what are you doing these days? It's obviously very good." I said, and he is one of the people I'd approached who made the comment, "That'll never work. That's stupid. I can't believe you fell for it." I said, "I'm still in that stupid, not going to work program," but I said, "We're on our way to Cancun now on a free trip." And they threw in the Lexus. I'm sorry. I'm Old Testament. Eye for an eye. You insult me, I'll insult you back. I'm not forgiving this person there. But I don't mean, but guys, you're going to have those things. But they told me the same thing about the blue jean business. They told me that would never work. So, guys, people that have a Ken Grissom's on here, and he's a business owner. He's like, "Isn't it amazing the employee mentality can never see what it's like to be an owner and the difference?" Anyway,
Yeah.
you always spur on so many things in my mind because of your background and the things you bring up. So back to what you were saying about duplication. I know we'll talk about the SOZ. And by the way, funny part is I didn't even know what an SOG what that stood for. Now, I mean, obviously, system of growth. I finally learned, and the IPAs I always thought was a beer, and I realized that's an income producing activity. So I've learned different terms here. So go back to what you were saying with that about the system and how you post them, because you do exactly what you teach your team to do. And I got one final question that'll take a long time. Go ahead.
Well, the system of growth is simple. Now listen, if you're brand new on here, I'm going to start you exactly what you do to run, listen to me, a 7-day campaign. Now you can do it every single week. And if you don't, as Todd Rowland said, I don't know, you hear all these people saying I made a post, you might be being a little ignorant if you're not running this every single week. I get it. Sometimes you don't, but why wouldn't you? So you listen, because some of you think you're doing it and you're not. You start a 7-day social campaign by you've got to build your algorithm up. So you've got to do a post that gets people to respond. That has nothing to do with health and wellness. So if I'm starting on a Monday, 9 a.m. post, it's always 9 and 3. Fight me on it. Go look at analytics. It's at 9 and 3. You're like, well, I did it at 4. Well, dummy, you're not doing the system. It's 9 and 3. Your dog eats at 5 o'clock and you make sure your dog eats at 5 o'clock, but you can't make a post at 9 and 3. Stop it. That's self-sabotage. 9 and 3. 9 a.m. I go put a post out on day 1 that is a question or a photo or something that gets people in your sphere of influence who loves you to make a comment, to put a post. I need an engagement post. So I put it out there. I need comments. And then I respond back to every single one of them, because the more my comments go, the more my people see. So understand that the average person only has 25 people who see the post, and you think everybody sees it. That's why you won't post it. No, about 25 people see it. So you got to increase your engagement. So as soon as you increase your engagement at 9 a.m., then at 3 p.m., I need you to do an explanation post. And if you'll do it live, or do an interview style. I can message Shauna and say, hey, I'm getting ready to jump on live on my cell phone. It has to be on your cell phone. Would you jump on and share your story with me? Because when people see people building community together, they want to listen. Okay. So at 3 p.m., between 3 and 6 p.m. So that one is a little bit different because you're going live. But if you'll go live, you're going to roll out the red carpet for about 10 days. Facebook's going to let even more of your friends' see it as long as you're in professional mode. So if your Facebook isn't professional mode, you need to go get it in professional mode. And then you need to do a live. Now, here's the thing that you're saying. I'm excited. I'm just getting started. I want someone to do this with me. And over the next 7 days, you're going to see posts. And what I want you to know is that I haven't been hacked. Because the first thing they're going to ask you is, have you been hacked? I want to take that out of there because they don't know what to, they feel uncomfortable. They want to ask you about the drops, but so take that little line out because it's really hard to get back to what they want to ask with that comment. So remove those. I'm excited. I'm just getting started. That means you don't have to have a story to get started. If you're on here and you're like, I got to get my results first. No, you don't, scaredy cat. You have weeks of posts of people who are literally, if you have been on a before and after post in the system of growth, put a 1 in the chat. And I want you to see this because guess what? You now know them. They're your friend. One of my friends is having incredible results. They are. You don't need results. Your friends want to watch you have results. That's why you're going to continue to keep posting. So you're going to schedule those posts 9 and 3 through the week. And at the end of the week, you're going to see how many boxes of drops. Maybe you ordered them in advance. Maybe you didn't, but you need to get your drops in. You need to get them shipped. I'm not moving a 4-pack on someone who comes in off a system of growth unless I had a conversation about business. If they're not ready to go ultimate, I'm not having them pay $29.95. If they want a 4-pack, awesome. You can buy all 4 from me. Why? Because I'm going to order in a 30-pack or I'm going to leverage a 10-pack and I'm going to place it under somebody who did pay $29.95 and does want to go ultimate. I'm not going to eat my seed. I'm gonna keep a customer until they're ready to have business talk or until I'm ready to have business talk. Because one thing I want to say is a lot of you are letting the tail wag the dog. You're letting your customers tell you when it's time to have business talk. You're a business owner. Have business talk first. You see people who are having success and you never have the conversation to move towards success because you're afraid they might say no. But what if they said yes? For those that were at PXP, everybody that was on our 6-figure panel said no first. I love it being told no. Okay, I don't. But I kind of do. My greatest strength is my greatest weakness. Oh, tell me no. I can't wait to take it on. Tell me no. That is a mindset. And some of you haven't got it. Tell me no. Tell me no, because I can't wait to figure out how to get you to say yes. Do you know how you get them to say yes? You figure out what their why is. It's about them. It's not about you. See, I told you I'm a solution finder. I want to help people have success in their health and in their finances. So I'm just looking for solutions for them. So I listen when I'm talking to people to see where in their life I could be an asset. That totally switches it. Some of you feel like you're like, oh, I'm bothering them. I'm right. I ain't bothering anybody. you consider me a 100% blessing in your life, because if God's going to put me in your way, he's got a plan for me to help you in some way, shape, or form. And you're no different. You're just looking at it from the other side. If God puts someone in your way, how can you bless them? You better be listening. What do you have to give them? And guess what? It might not be this business. It might be a smile. It might be a connection to a friend. It might be an invite to church on Sunday. You never know what God is up to, but everybody goes to the top of my prospect list. So when you run that 7-day system of growth, it is to help somebody walk along the way so that you know how to get them to ultimate. The analytics are in. 80% of the people who run a 7-day campaign earn $500 to $700 in their first month. Guess what? If they don't run a 7-day campaign, do you want to know what the numbers are? 4%. 4 or 80. And you're not posting the posts. And I'm going to say something that might ruffle some feathers, but that's what I'm here for. That's dumb. That's ignorant. You're probably broke. And you won't post twice a day a campaign that has been shown to produce 80% of the time. But you'll go get distracted in buttons, t-shirts. You'll go get distracted in expos. You'll go spend money on coaches, but you won't do the basics. Stay broke. You have to do the basics. No one's getting through this without doing the basics, because if you can't teach them, you can't be duplicatable. There will come a point in time in your business that you don't have to post, but it's not right now. This company is too young. It's too early. We haven't caught momentum. Consider yourself blessed. It's a massive opportunity. So you got to go back to the basics. Will you, for the next 90 days, do the basics with me? Will you go out there? And if you won't commit to 90 days and you won't commit to a month, this week, will you go? Can we have this the biggest week we've ever had, where every single person on here goes and does a 7-day campaign? Now, once you start day one, you don't skip around. You don't go haphazardly picking your posts. That is an attraction marketing campaign. We spent serious money to learn how to do that campaign. You just think it's just posts because some person posted a post? No, there is marketing in that week. Stay in it. It's a before and after. It's a before and after. It's a testimonial. It's lab work. It's a call to action. It's a fear of missing out. It's a call to action. It's a fear of missing out. You think that's by accident? No, it's a flow chart. So don't go get out of the 7-day campaign. You start at day one and you run it the whole week. Stop popping out of it. You're like, oh, I'm not selling any drops. Well, no crap. You're not running the campaign. So get into the campaign, commit to the campaign, and let's make it this week. The most people, I don't care what week's campaign you run, just run one, but stay in it. Okay? That's duplication. Do you see what I just did there? And you're not all on my team. I just gave you a simple 1-week marching order, and 220 people are going to duplicate my efforts. That's the power of network marketing. And you can very easily build a team of 200 people if you will run this campaign. Because it's not about you finding 200. It's about you finding one who then goes and shares to 10. And 10 becomes 100, and 100 becomes 1,000, and 1,000, right? It's that easy. It really is that easy, and you don't believe it sometimes.
Coach Palmer talked about that in his breakout session, the power of one. But here's what I want you to hit on for a little bit before we finish up here.
Yep.
I'm brand new, or I've been here for a while. It doesn't matter. I've got a brand new person who's been maybe bought some drops and had some success, and they have decided that they do want to pay the $29. I want you to go through what you do, because there's where I think people are really missing. It's like, oh, they're signing up now. And then they just kind of send them the system of growth and say, go tackle them, guys. I watched Coach Palmer do this at I think it was in Columbus, when he's like, he pulled a guy up on stage and he said, I went through. So I want you to do. What do? You got a brand new person. If you've been here for, it doesn't matter how long you've been here. A new person doesn't know. They're brand new. They're just trying to understand. How do you start that new person that says, "Hey, I've decided these products are working, and I want to pay the $29.95, and I might even like to make a little money." Because nobody, listen, guys, people are rarely going to come in and say, "Hey, I want to make a bunch of money." They're going to come in and say, "I'd sure like to be able to pay for my products, or I'd like to supplement my income a little bit. Could I make $500 a month?" And your answer is always the same: yes. Don't go out there and say, "Oh, you can make 100,000." No, they don't believe that yet. I mean, I'm gonna give you that tip. Don't. But Kristal got a brand new. Let's just say I was that person. So what would you tell me? You're gonna get me on the phone. Tell me what am I? I'm like, I decided I'm gonna sell a few of these if I can make enough money to pay for my drops. So what do you do?
So, absolutely. Let me onboard you. Okay, so Chris is sitting on his boat. If he has somebody, if Miss Judy is standing on the dock and she's getting ready to get on the boat and it's time to onboard, what does he do? He reaches out and he grabs her hand and he steadies her as she steps onto the boat that might shift a little bit. We are onboarding people into our company. They got little baby giraffe legs. They're wobbly. You got to grab their hand. You got to hold it. Some of you are afraid to hold someone's hand because you might screw up. I always say, I've always had this mentality. My dad taught me this. Make a mess, we'll clean it up. Everything is fixable. So if you screw up, so what? You learn more in the screw up than you ever learned by doing something perfect. So I onboard someone, I bring them on. Do I do it perfectly? Heck no. I got team on here. They're like, oh Lord, let's hear her talk about how she onboards. Again, you got to make a system. And if you don't run your system, keep it simple. So we created something for our team, 7 days to launch. It's a board that just has the information on how to get started in their first 7 days. Because if I don't get them to ultimate, I've failed them. I also have removed $450 from my paycheck. Think about that. Every person that you personally bring on is $450 over the next 4 weeks if you help them have success. You literally get paid to onboard them. And so I'm just going to help them. I'm going to help them get their phone. I'm going to help them get launched. I'm going to help them get professional mode. I'm going to help them get them scheduled. I'm going to help. And then I'm going to check in with them. I'm going to set a reminder on my phone because life gets busy and I forget people. We all do. But I got to set in fail proof so that I don't fail. And I still do. It's okay. Here's the one thing. You can't make someone be successful. You also can't make someone fail. Because if they want it, and if it's supposed to happen, they're going to reach back out to you. But we really do have the keys to our hand in our business when we're bringing somebody on. So you just got to treat them like a newborn baby and onboard them, hold their hand, help them get started. But here's the next thing. You got to know when to get out of their way and let them run. My whole goal anytime I get someone started is to get 4 generations. I call it a 4 pod. I want to get 4 generations down line of them, meaning I help them get enrolled, and then we help them enroll someone, and then we help that person enroll someone, and then the next person. I want to help them get 4 generations down line of them. That's my whole goal when I get someone started.
Don't you, do you help them get their first post made? Because I know that's one of the things that you go through that process with them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll jump on a Zoom or a FaceTime, or get in Messenger, whatever it is. I want to be live with them. If I'm local, I'll sit down for coffee with them. You know, it doesn't matter how you get them going. You just have to get them going. They're nervous, they're scared, and sometimes you just gotta, all right, let's take your picture. Okay, let's make that first post. Okay, let's get it scheduled. And they're like, oh, but then they're so glad you did, right? It's like a little kid on a bicycle with when you take their little training wheels off. They don't want you to push them and let them go. But yet think of the smile that happens as soon as they take off and start pedaling. They're all wobbly, but they get it. That's exactly what happens here. You gotta you gotta parent your new people.
One thing, I've got a couple of questions that somebody's put through the chat, and as you know, I'm not able to look at the chat. I'm on my iPad. Somebody texted it to me because you mentioned when we know we're doing our post 9 and 3. When did you suggest that they do the lifestyle post because to build the algorithm? I know it. I think it's. I know the answer, but I'd rather you answer because I still not. You studied all this so much more than I did.
Yeah, so you should be posting 3 times a day minimum. Okay, you should have a 9 and a 3 that's scheduled. And I like noon to 1 personally because people are on their lunch breaks, and that's when I do my personal life. And here's the thing, if you're not posting I'm glad you said that and asked that, by the way, because I think this is probably where most people stumble. If I go to their page and they're like, I haven't sold any drops in a while, and I go and I look and all it is a system of growth. They're like, that's like, what if you tuned into TV and all it was commercials? How long would you watch before you turn the channel? You're like, where's the show? I came here for the show. What? Well, that's your life. So if you're not showing up with your life, they have no desire to watch your commercials. So you've got to show up as your people have to see the show or they're out. They'll unfriend you, they'll unfollow you because they're just like, all they're trying to do is sell me. And you are. They're not stupid. You are. You're just trying to move your drops.
Let
So
me throw
don't.
in something else that I would suggest on that too, guys. Stay away from political posts. This Facebook is not your. I'm not here to ask anybody what their favorites are, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be involved in politics. I'm not saying you shouldn't have an opinion. But guys, it's very controversial. All the things that are going on, and you're going to lose half your audience just because you get a political view. You won't see me posting political views. I just don't, and I don't even want to mention what mine are here. It's not that's personal for me. But I will tell you this: if you do things that are controversial on Facebook, I see some reps and I watch them. I'm like, why are you posting that? First off, it offended me, and you're on my team, and I wouldn't buy from you because now I know what your political views are. So if that's all you're interested in, and you want to be a politician, okay, get into political posts. But if you're in this business to make money, you got to be someone people want to read their post. Things that are positive, things that are exciting. I mean, Judy laughs. She does obviously doesn't work the business, but my wife makes posts about things that excite her, things about the kids or something about a granddaughter. But she makes posts and don't think she doesn't pay any attention. She's like, wow, I got 100 comments on that. She could be great at this business, but that's not her thing right now. She obviously doesn't have to, so she doesn't worry about it. So think about those things. Make sure that you think about your posts. Is this something that's going to be positive in people's lives, or is it something they don't want to know about? My niece Carla's on here. She's one of the ones that sent me the things. She posts about her kids a lot because, first off, that's what she loves, and her kids are playing ball. People relate to those kind of posts. Or Kelly is on here. One of her team members. Her son got hurt in the football game. Those are kind of things she does it by naturally. But guys, those are the kind of things that Kristal's talking about. You got to build. I can't even spell algorithm, but I do know this. It's a major difference if you don't understand. Kristen works up. I'm gonna tell on her, Crystal. You may not know this. Do you remember when Kristen jumped in a swimming pool and swam when there was ice on the ground? I said, why did you do that? She said, I knew it would create a lot of posts and I knew it would create a lot of comments because I was, didn't matter. They're crazy. What are you doing, girl? She said, I created, increased my algorithm. She said, I did something that was insane. And it was. I was like, trying to kill you. You jumped in a swimming pool and it's 17 degrees outside. And it wasn't a heated pool, by the way. It was iced over every place. But here's what it did. It creates that algorithm. And that's what people miss is little things like, why did they not comment? Why does it's because they're not seeing it. And that's a critical part that a lot of people miss. And I'm sorry I interrupted there, but I think that's something that people need to realize. There's more to it than just 9 and 3. Yes, that's critical. Without it, it ain't going to work. But you got to have some of those lifestyle things. And I would also suggest, and I'm going to make sure that Kristal agrees with this. I see people posting and putting a link to make a purchase. People ain't clicking on a link. I mean, you might get one, and you may say, "Oh, I got one." Well, you might, but it's got to be the relationship. You've got to follow the scripts. All you're wanting is someone to look at it. And don't be just so obvious that you're in the business of selling drops. Be about what the drops did, not what you want to sell. People
Yeah.
hate commercials. Is that clear? Am I right about that? I mean, you want to reiterate
Totally.
that?
Yeah, when people are dropping links on Facebook, unless it's to give them some value. So like right now, so this ties in perfectly. I did my little rant last week over the pink salt. It went viral. Well, I'd be totally ridiculous if I didn't take advantage of the fact that my algorithm, I mean, there was like 22,000 views on that video. Why would I not start posting? Why would I not start a 90-day challenge? It put me into action, not momentum, action. So I had to go take action. So all of a sudden, and this is success loves speed. So as soon as that happened, I was like, "Ooh, I got to go into action." So I went and grabbed a website, bodybalance90.com. I started a 90-day challenge. Why? Because it went with my rant. I figured it out. I grabbed some people. I now have a 90-day challenge that's starting. If you want to do it with me, see, I had to figure out, listen to this. I had to figure out how can I post and take advantage of the people who want to build with me, who aren't you. I don't want your people. I don't want to take people from you. I got to figure out how to do that as a leader. So I created my own little website. But if you want to use my challenge, I want to be an asset and create value for you. So / and the word challenge. And you can add people into a 90-day challenge. They can buy their drops from you. Awesome. But that all came from doing a Facebook post that went viral, that it put me into action. And now, do you see how it starts blessing other people? That's when you know you're doing the right thing. When you start to get speed and momentum and growth. If you don't have speed, momentum, and growth, you're not doing the right thing, because success loves speed. And if it's slow, there's something that's off. What is off? Probably not doing the basics. Probably not doing the basics.
I think that pretty well is a good spot to end with that. And by the way, I've got a bunch of people in chat. Many people wanting to hear product talk, and people want information. And I know that when we bring up with Dr. Kristal's name, they all think we're going to be talking about how the drops work. But you guys, I think the most important thing to understand is that she could build with that. You can't build with that because even though you may know the answers, you don't need those. The answers are in this SOG. But I will promise you this: I'm going to make Kristen, and I'll get Dr. Kristal, because they're both about as educated on products. And a lot of times, this won't be building tools. Saturday mornings are supposed to be building tools, but we will have a Saturday morning. I'll talk Kristen and Kristal are coming back and let them discuss groups of products and answer questions about what products could help. But remember, we don't heal, treat, or diagnose. What we do is help people. I've said many times, I'm not cured of asthma. I just don't need meds anymore. And that cured it up for me because I don't have to have it. But the fact is, I still have asthma. But the products have made a difference. Kristal, thank you for being on. I think, listen, if you guys loved what you heard, if you're here to build a business, you should have absolutely loved everything you got to hear. Please put a heart in the chat for Kristal. and then we'll unmute the lines and stop the recording. Guys, it's always special and to have leaders that listen, that care. If you don't think that's what I'm not going to bring up any names, but people, when I see people leave our company, it's because they were about me. They were about themselves. They weren't about being a part of something special. They truly didn't care about their teams. They cared more about what's for them. And when you see people's heart, like Dr. Kristal, we can name off dozens. I could go in her ups, and you mentioned Robin. I mean, I've become such a good friend with Robin. Matter of fact, my wife checks on Robin. How's Robin doing? It was just funny how you build these relationships that are people that are in your lives, and you're one of those for us. And of course, we're hoping you're going to come visit again when you make another road trip. Tennessee, you know where we live, so you know where Tennessee is. So we're going to be expecting you to. We call it Kristal's room now. It's upstairs. You stayed in about as many. It's in our house. It hasn't been stayed in many times. The grandchildren's room and Dr. Kristal's room. So we'll love to have you back. So guys, thank you so much for being on this Saturday morning, and we'll be back next week. And I don't know who will be with us, but we'll be back next week. Remember to check your Connect events. There's one thing I will tell you: there's a lot of Connect events coming from the company. Nashville's coming up. I will not be there because I'm going to do one in Las Vegas. I'm sorry I picked the Las Vegas, but the Eagles have to be playing, so I get a business trip and get to see the Eagles on the same trip. How's that for cool? I get to write the trip off. So guys, there's a lot of perks you don't know about. So thanks for having you on this morning. All of you, glad for being here. Thanks to all my listen, Paul and Sharon Goss. They're here from Canada. They're here for me helping every single week, and I just appreciate them. There's so many people that I could thank that are always here to help that aren't saying Val. I mean, I could go down the list. I mean, the Grishams. You can't do this without it. What is something you said, without a tribe or without a community? There's so many people behind the scenes that help so many things, and we really appreciate it. Guys, have a great day. And as you can see, being on the boat, you know what I'm about to do. I'm fixing to crank these motors up. I'm fixing to head into the water. So, guys, have a great Saturday. Open up the lines.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Dr.
Thank
Chris.
you.
And
Have
Dr.
a great
Saturday.
Thank you.
Appreciate so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
We love
Awesome.
you.
Love you.
Love you.
Thank you.
Have
It's
a
nice
great
meeting
weekend.
everyone
Get
of
ready
you.
to
Thank you
post.
so much.
Get ready to post.
Are you sleeping?